All right, so we're diving into Dave Ramsey's world today,
Yeah.
specifically his 7 baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be using the Best of the Ramsey Show as our guide.
Okay.
Um, and I think, honestly, who hasn't felt like a little lost when it comes to financial advice?
It's a lot out there.
It's a lot, right? Everyone's got a different opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But Ramsey's approach, I think, is pretty interesting because it really emphasizes simplicity.
Yeah, and intensity.
And intensity.
Yeah.
And it's worked for millions of people.
Absolutely.
So let's figure out what makes this tick.
All right, let's get into it.
So the baby steps themselves, they're not like some magic,
Yeah. Yeah.
like get-rich-quick scheme.
No magic bullet.
It's really about, building a strong foundation.
Yeah, it's a very foundational brick by brick.
Brick by brick.
By system.
Yeah, so let's unpack these baby steps, starting with number 1.
Yeah.
Which is saving $1,000 as your starter emergency fund.
Right.
Why does he start there?
I think of it as getting a little bit of a safety net
Okay.
before you tackle the big scary monster, which is debt.
Okay.
So this is sort of proving to yourself hey, I can do this.
Okay.
I can take control of my money.
It's a small win.
Exactly. A small win.
Okay, so build that momentum, build that confidence.
Yep.
Then comes the debt snowball.
Yeah, baby step 2.
Baby step 2. Things get real here.
Yeah, Gazelle intensity.
Gazelle intensity. So explain that term because he uses that a lot.
He does, yeah. He uses that term Gazelle intensity to describe the kind of laser focus you need when you are tackling debt. So picture a gazelle running from a cheetah.
Oh, yeah.
All of its energy is on survival.
Right.
That's the level of commitment
that
Ramsey wants you to have when you are paying off your debt.
So just laser focus.
Laser focus.
Okay.
And so the way the debt snowball works is you list all your debts, smallest to largest. You make minimum payments on everything but the smallest one, and then you attack that little debt with everything you've got.
So you're knocking out those smaller ones first.
You're not.
To give you that motivation to keep going.
Yes. And it works because what they found is most people who follow this plan become debt-free except for their mortgage in about 2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
Wow.
Imagine that weight lifted off your shoulders.
I mean, no more credit card bills, just
breathing down your neck.
Breathing down your neck all the time.
Yes.
That's huge.
Huge. And that's just the beginning.
Oh, wow.
So once you're free from, those nagging debts, you move on to baby step 3.
Okay.
Building a fully funded emergency fund.
Okay, so now we're talking bigger safety net.
Yeah, this time we're talking 3 to 6 months of expenses saved up.
3 to 6 months.
Yes.
Okay, but why is this step so important?
Because
I feel like at this point, you'd be tempted to be like, all right, let's get into investing.
I know.
Let's start making this money work for me.
Why the emergency fund?
Well, it's about security and peace of mind.
Okay.
Ramsey really emphasizes being prepared for whatever life throws your way.
Yeah.
Job loss, medical bills, car repairs, you name it.
He always says it's going to rain.
It's gonna rain.
You need to be ready.
You need to be ready when crap happens.
Oh, yeah. That one sticks with you.
It does.
And not only are you financially stable, but you're also mentally prepared for any kind of curveball.
Absolutely.
That's pretty liberating, actually.
It is.
When you think about it.
Yeah.
But here's the million-dollar question.
Okay.
Literally.
Ramsey's
research shows that the average person using this plan becomes a millionaire in about 10 and a half years.
It's true.
How?
I know.
How is that even possible?
I think that statistic is a testament to the power of consistency and having a solid plan. It's not about hitting the jackpot. It's about building wealth steadily over time.
Okay, so slow and steady wins the race.
Slow and steady wins the race. All right, so speaking of steady, let's talk about something that Ramsey's kind of known for.
Okay.
Which is his view on good debt and credit card rewards.
Yes.
He's not a fan.
He is not a fan.
To say the least.
To say the least.
But I think a lot of people struggle with this one.
I think so, too.
Because we live in a world now where credit cards are
shoved down our throats.
Yeah. They're everywhere, right? And everyone brags about their travel points.
Yes. Oh, I got so many miles.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to the Maldives.
Right. So is he just being stubborn, or is there a deeper point that he's trying to make here?
I think there's a deeper point he's trying to make.
Okay.
He's definitely challenging conventional wisdom here.
Okay.
Remember Diane from Arizona?
Yeah, I remember Diane.
She thought she was winning the credit card points game. And Ramsey was like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
He compares it to those Chuck E. Cheese prizes.
Oh, yeah.
You spend a fortune.
To get that, like, little plastic.
That little plastic dinosaur or whatever,
Yeah.
you know?
You think you're getting a good deal, but are you really?
Exactly. And it's not just about the math.
Okay.
Although that's definitely a part of it.
Right.
There's a psychological aspect at play here, too.
Okay.
These credit card companies are masters at using those points and rewards to trick people into spending more than they can afford.
It's that instant gratification.
Yes.
Like, oh, I get this deal now.
Look at this deal I'm getting.
Even though I'm paying more in the long run.
Exactly. And you know that study that he did
Yeah.
where he surveyed 10,000 millionaires, and not a single one of them
Not one.
claimed credit card points
Wow.
as a wealth-building strategy.
So it's safe to say that relying on credit card rewards to, like, build your wealth is
a bad idea.
like building a house of cards.
It's a shaky foundation.
Yeah, it's not going to last.
And that's what Ramsey's trying to help us avoid.
Okay.
He wants us to build that solid financial foundation, not one based on, like,
Gimmicks.
and tricks.
Okay, so how do we shift our mindsets then from, feeling trapped by debt and tempted by these, shiny rewards to actually feeling in control of our finances?
Right.
Like we hear the story of Brian, who's, really pumped to tackle his debt. But then Ramsey tells him to cash out his stocks, and he's like,
oh, crap.
He has this oh, crap moment.
You can hear it in his voice.
You can hear the fear.
The fear.
Right. So, like, how do we get over that?
Yeah, I think Brian's reaction is like a perfect illustration of how fear can be a powerful motivator.
Okay.
Even when it's uncomfortable.
Okay.
It's that feeling of, I never want to be in this position again.
Right.
That can really push you to make real changes.
But it's not just fear.
Right. It's about having a plan.
Okay.
And not letting your emotions dictate your financial decisions. You can't just react to every market fluctuation or impulse purchase.
Every time you see a sale.
Right. You got to have a plan.
You got to have a plan.
And you stick to it.
Stick to it.
Yeah.
And that's where I think his quote about normal really hits home.
Oh, yeah.
Where he says, normal is broke and in debt.
It's true.
That's a pretty bold statement.
It is a bold statement.
What's he really getting at here?
He's challenging us to question what society considers normal when it comes to money.
Right.
Think about it. Like, we're bombarded with messages telling us to spend.
Spend.
Buy the latest gadgets, take out loans for that dream car, keep up with the Joneses.
Oh, yeah. Keep up with the Joneses.
What if that's normal is actually a recipe for financial disaster?
It's like we're all on this treadmill.
Yes.
Running faster and faster just to stay in the same place.
Exactly. And no wonder so many people feel trapped and overwhelmed by their finances.
Yeah.
And so what Ramsey wants us to do is like step off that treadmill and create a new path, one that leads to financial freedom.
Peace of mind.
So create your own path. Don't just follow.
Don't just follow what everyone else is doing. Yeah, he's saying that true common sense practices, like living below your means and avoiding debt, they're actually pretty rare these days.
Right. Yeah.
They're rare.
They're not common.
It's like that common sense is a superpower now.
It is.
Because it's so uncommon.
It is a superpower.
Actually, like, have that common sense approach.
Yes. And, the majority of millionaires that Ramsey studied built their wealth through those slow and steady methods.
Yep.
They weren't chasing get-rich-quick schemes.
Right.
They weren't relying on credit card points. They were disciplined. They're patient. And they were focused on the long game.
So it's about those long-term habits.
Yeah,
okay.
Long-term.
So building that foundation, making those smart choices over time.
Yes.
All right. So that brings us to baby steps 4, 5, and 6. And I feel like this is where the focus shifts from that, like, Gazelle intensity to something a bit more sustainable.
We're sustainable.
Right, because you've built that foundation.
Right.
So you don't need to be running from the cheetah anymore.
Exactly. You've escaped the cheetah.
You've escaped the cheetah.
So you're good.
You're good. You got your little watering hole. Right. You're hanging out.
All right. So what do those baby steps entail?
Okay. So baby step 4 is investing 15% of your household income for retirement.
Okay.
And then 5 and 6 are saving for your children's college and paying off your house.
Okay. And you can kind of do those at the same time.
You could do them simultaneously.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
So even in these later baby steps, every dollar still has a specific job.
It does.
We hear Jennifer from Houston asking about her emergency fund.
Oh, yeah.
She's kind of further along in the plan, and she's wondering if she still needs that big 3 to 6 month buffer.
Yeah. I mean, this is where things get interesting.
Okay.
Because as you progress through the baby steps.
And as you become more financially stable, the nature of emergencies changes. You have more resources.
Okay.
And you need less of a safety net.
Less of a safety net. Got it.
And, Ramsey also emphasizes the importance of distinguishing between true emergencies and planned transitions.
Planned transitions.
Like Jennifer wanting a new job.
Right. So wanting a new job isn't an emergency.
It's not an emergency.
But it's still something you need to plan for.
It's something you need to plan for.
Financially.
So he would recommend setting up a separate savings goal for that.
Okay.
Like a transition fund.
Transition fund.
You don't want to be dipping into your emergency fund for every life change or goal.
Got it. So it all comes back to being intentional with your money.
Intentional.
You have a plan and you stick to it.
You stick to it.
Right. But let's be real. Life happens.
Life happens.
Like unexpected expenses pop up.
Yep.
Markets fluctuate.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like you're taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
It can feel like that.
So how do you stay motivated and focused when things inevitably get tough?
Well, that's where the support system that Ramsey talks about comes in.
Okay.
You surround yourself with people who understand your goals.
Okay.
Who can offer encouragement and accountability. And, the baby steps are designed to build on each other.
Okay.
It's a holistic approach that addresses every aspect of your financial life.
Okay.
From getting out of debt to planning for the future.
So it's like this roadmap to financial freedom.
It is a roadmap.
That guides you through each stage.
Each stage of the journey. Yes, and that's what makes his approach so effective.
Okay.
It's not a magic bullet.
Right.
But it is a proven plan that has helped millions of people transform their financial lives. Yes. Yeah. It's about looking at the big picture.
Okay.
And, one thing I really appreciate about Ramsey's approach is that he doesn't just focus on the numbers.
Right.
He really gets that personal finance. It's also about behavior.
It's
about psychology. It's not just about spreadsheets and interest rates.
It's about your habits.
It's about your mindset.
Totally.
And he really understands that money, it's a very emotional topic for people.
For sure.
We all have baggage and beliefs that shape our relationship with money.
Yeah.
And I think he really taps into that emotional side, especially in those early baby steps, to help people break free from those unhealthy patterns.
Yeah, like that oh crap moment that Brian had when he realized he needed to cash out his stocks to tackle his debt.
Yes.
Like that wasn't just about like the math.
Yeah.
It was like a gut level reaction.
It was a gut reaction.
To facing his financial reality.
Exactly. And I think Ramsey uses those emotional responses to fuel the intensity that's needed for change.
Right.
He knows that logic alone isn't always enough.
To break those old habits.
To break those habits and get out of debt.
Yeah.
He wants you to feel the urgency, the weight of those choices.
Okay.
To motivate real action.
And he's also pretty fearless when it comes to challenging the status quo.
Yes, he is.
Like when he says, normal is broke and in debt.
Right.
That's like a slap in the face for some people.
It's a wake-up call.
It's a wake-up call.
For a lot of people.
Who might be stuck in that cycle.
Yes.
And not even realizing it.
Right, because it's so normalized.
It's normalized.
That's not in society.
To be in debt.
To be in debt.
Yeah.
To be living paycheck to paycheck.
It's like the American way, almost.
Almost. And he's pushing back against that.
Okay.
He's saying that's not normal.
Yeah.
That's not healthy.
Right.
And he's advocating for a simpler, more intentional approach.
Okay.
To finances.
I like that. Yeah.
Intentional.
Intentional with your money and your spending.
Okay, so it's not just about cutting back.
No, it's about being mindful.
It's about being mindful.
About where your money's going.
But is this plan realistic for everyone? That's a good question.
Because, some people are out there, they're struggling to make ends meet.
Yes.
They're living paycheck to paycheck.
Absolutely.
Can they really afford to save and invest?
That's a very valid concern.
Okay.
And Ramsey acknowledges that everyone's situation is different.
Okay.
He emphasizes that the principles of the baby steps can be adapted to fit different income levels and circumstances.
So it's not like a one-size-fits-all.
It's not a one-size-fits-all.
Got it.
It might take longer for some people.
Okay.
But the goal is to create a system that works for you.
That works for you in your situation.
Exactly. And I think that's the beauty of it.
Okay.
You can take those core principles,
Mm-hmm.
Getting out of debt, building that emergency fund,
Right.
investing for the future,
Yeah.
and apply them to your own unique situation.
Yeah. And speaking of the future,
Okay.
Ramsey has some pretty strong opinions on retirement planning as well.
He does.
He's a big believer in investing in those good growth stock mutual funds,
Yes.
even when the economy feels shaky.
Right. He's all about slow and steady wins the race.
Slow and steady.
When it comes to building wealth,
Yeah.
he's not about timing the market
Okay.
or chasing quick returns.
About the long game.
It's about the long game, letting your investments grow over time.
And he's pretty hardcore about avoiding debt,
He is hardcore about avoiding debt.
even for things like mortgages and student loans.
Yes. Even those things that people say are like, good debt.
Good debt.
He's like, nope.
Like, no, not a fan.
He argues that debt, even so-called good debt,
Okay.
it creates a psychological burden
Okay.
and it limits your financial freedom.
So it's about that feeling of freedom.
Freedom.
Yeah.
He wants you to own your home outright
Okay.
and build a business with cash,
Wow.
giving you more stability and control.
In the long run.
In the long run.
He's all about that debt-free scream.
Oh, he loves that debt-free.
Celebrating those victories.
Feeling that weight lifted off your shoulders.
But isn't there a time and a place for using debt strategically?
That's a good question.
Like, what about using a mortgage to buy a house or
Right.
taking out a loan to invest in a business?
I think that's where things get a little bit more nuanced.
Okay.
While Ramsey acknowledges that there might be exceptions,
Mhm.
he generally advises against taking on any unnecessary debt.
Okay.
He believes that owning your home outright
Okay.
and building a business with cash,
Mhm.
it gives you more stability and control in the long run.
So it's about weighing those risks and rewards
Yes,
and making sure you're not taking on more than you can handle.
exactly.
So it's about being smart,
Being smart.
strategic with your finances,
Strategic.
not just blindly following a set of rules.
Right. It's about understanding the principles
Okay.
and making informed decisions that align with your goals.
At the end of the day, that's what I find so compelling about his approach.
Me too.
It's about empowering people
Yes.
to take ownership
ownership.
of their financial lives
Yes.
and make choices that reflect their values
And their goals.
and their goals.
Exactly. He's not just giving you a fish.
Right.
He's teaching you how to fish.
He's giving you the tools
He's equipping you
to figure it out yourself.
with the knowledge and the tools to navigate this sometimes complex
Very complicated.
world of personal finance.
So we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From the, really like detailed stuff of the baby steps to like the bigger picture themes of his philosophy.
We did.
But here's a question for you, our listener.
Okay.
What resonated with you the most?
Yeah. What stood out?
What's one thing you can take away from this deep dive
Yes.
and apply to your own financial life today?
Think about your goals, your values,
Yeah.
and your current financial situation.
Okay.
What's one small step
One small step.
we can take today to move closer to financial freedom?
It could be creating a budget
Yeah.
or paying down a small debt
Mm-hmm.
or even just having a conversation with someone you trust about your finances.
Absolutely. Just start somewhere.
Just start somewhere.
Take that first step.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Progress, not perfection.
And if you're ready to dive deeper into, the world of Ramsey,
yeah.
we highly recommend checking out the full episodes
Absolutely.
of the Best the Ramsey Show.
You'll hear real stories, practical advice,
Yeah.
a healthy dose of tough love
A little bit of tough love.
to help you on your journey toward financial peace.
So with that, we'll wrap up our deep dive
Yes.
into the world of Dave Ramsey.
It's been a journey.
Until next time, keep learning,
Keep growing
growing.
and keep striving for that financial peace.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.